Hello, SoulFlowers. It's me, Gothic SoulFlower. Aunt Nisi, if you'd like. Or just Nisi. Or a hey you. Whatever. I don't mind that either. We're doing some more country walking because it's a beautiful fall day. And I want to get some outside videos done before it gets really cold. So here we are. So I wanted to talk to you about growing old and letting go. I am middle-aged and it's been a little challenging, and I feel like no one really talks about this stuff when what occurs with middle age. You hear all about the young, hear about the quarter life crisis, but I feel like middle age crisis, it's relegated to a joke now. You know, the cliche middle-aged man who's balding and he's sick of the wife, sick of the kids. He gets an expensive sports car, starts dressing younger than what he is, leaves the wife, has a hot new girlfriend. That's a cliche. And for women, you know, the cliche for us is stuffing our middle-aged spread fat bodies into the tightest dress possible, hitting the clubs and flirting with every guy that we see, you know, desperation. And those are cliches, and they're pretty stupid cliches. Yeah, that happens, and there's nothing necessarily wrong with dating a younger person or even getting a divorce or, you know, hitting the clubs or whatever. I mean, that's life. Do what you want. Doesn't have to be a move of desperation. But I'm finding the middle age crisis, it's more of a transition, really. I've been having a hard time this year, not because of my age, but just changes in my life, which I explained in the last video. And part of the trouble, besides life getting crazy and too fast, is I find that I'm trying to hold on to things that represented my life so far. Friends that I've lost due to bullcrap. Friends and family I've lost because they died. Just not doing the things that I feel I'm meant to do. Whether it's creative endeavors, making videos perhaps, that type of thing. I was just consumed with loss. That's what it was. I've been dealing with loss, and 2019 has not been our friend necessarily, and 2018 definitely sucked. I feel like my mom died in 2012. I feel like every year since has just been a whole big old stinking ball of shit, and it's quite depressing. Speaking of, let's get a bottle of wine, shall we? We are drinking Gothic Inferno this afternoon, which I've done a review on already. Cheers. Oh, yeah. I gotta take it easy with this one. This is a strong one. Aged in whiskey barrels. So, this is what I do. Drink wine and vape. So, if any of that offends you, that's okay. I just have to chill. That's how I chill. So let's talk middle age. Middle age is typically described as being from the ages of 45 to 65. So you're not a young adult, but you're not old either. So you're in the middle, which is why it's called middle age. And I am 46. So that would describe what my problem has been lately, I think. I just feel like, what have I done with my life, basically? I'm starting to beat myself up. And just how the world sees me, if they see me at all, that's depressing too. Now, what I'm about to tell you, these are my feelings. Not everyone's going to feel the same. Some may think it's silly, especially those with their shit together, which does not include me. But this is how I've been feeling lately, for maybe a couple years now. And I never said anything because, I mean, who cares what older people think, right? It's all about the young and what they think and, what's going on in their lives. And that's cool. I understand that. I really don't have much of a problem with it. I'm just not used to being non-existent. After all, I'm middle-aged. And before that, I was young. So these feelings are new for me. And if you're older than middle-aged, if you can, just humor me. I know y'all are probably over this already, and you're just kind of rolling your eyes like, okay, girl, you just need to get over it. But I'm 46, I'm just starting middle age here, and there's challenges with that. One challenge is irrelevancy. And yeah, who cares what the world thinks and all that, but it could be hard to accept that no one cares. Except for your friends and family. But no one cares. It's kind of like, I don't know, we just don't exist. Then again, I'm Generation X. Yes, we do exist. I'm not going to get into the generations, but you go from baby boomers to millennials. And it's like, hello, what about me? The cynics, the people into nirvana, and who, maybe that's our problem. We just don't care. We're the whatever generation, if you will. Moving on to middle age. Bear with me, I have not recorded a video in a while. When I first started having, I think the feelings really started last year, and it kind of progressed. And it's not all due to my age. It's not all because of middle age. But it's something I didn't even consider. After all, I've never had to think about it before. I just had this nagging feeling of wanting to start over. I just wish I was wishing I was young again so that I could start over. I could have a clean slate and really just do what I wanted to do before life took over. But we can't go back. And you know what? I don't want to go back, despite what I just said. It's not that I want to be young. It's just I want to be free. And I can have freedom. I can. I can start over. I feel like I'm in a second teenage phase, but with maturity. And I've actually looked this up. It is called Middlescence. Never heard of that. And if I can find the article, I'll put it below. And there's a video on that as well. Basically, it's like a second chance. It's your youth, your young adulthood may not have gone as planned, and you certainly have made mistakes. I think Middlescence is just saying it's okay to start over. I mentioned earlier I want to get back into my drawing. I didn't want to post because I'm nervous. I'm nervous because it's not great art, but you have to start somewhere. So it's going to be a little while. Not too long, hopefully, but it's going to be a little while before I share because I'm just a little nervous. But it's Middlescence, or I'm just going to say middle age. I don't know how I'm feeling about that word, but I get the idea. I get the concept. You can start anew. It's not over yet. I am middle-aged. I'm not elderly. I'm not 96 years old. I hope to get there, but I'm not there yet, and that's part of what's helping me. I can look at it as I'm 46 years old, or I can look at it as if I live to 96, I still have 50 more years. That's a long time. Some people don't make it to 96, and there's no guarantee I will. And some people have died before 46 years old. They're no longer here. They're no longer alive. So I'm grateful to still be on the planet. Not a lot of people aren't as lucky. And I want to focus on that instead of wishing for my youth back. Because my youth, I liked my youth. It was freeing and I did what I want and I was cute, but oh goodness, I was a mess. I would not trade my mindset at 26 for my mindset today. Y'all probably would not have liked me when I was 26. I was whiny. Didn't think the world was fair, which it wasn't, but you know, I thought whining and complaining would get me somewhere, would get me sympathy, and it doesn't. I think it's a matter of changing my mindset. And I wanted to do this video because I'm not going to say we're not allowed to talk about it. It just seems like no one talks about it. You should be over this. You should have your shit together. You should have all your ducks in a row. You should have a plan for the future. You should stick with this plan, blah, blah, blah. You know, and to be honest, I don't think I'll be that way when I'm elderly if I make it there. That's just not how I roll. I do plan what I can. I'm not against planning. I'm not a planner as far as planning every day and every minute of my life. I get burned out from too much planning. And then when the plans fall through, it's a bummer. It's like, oh, I did all this planning, whereas fine if I don't plan as much and things happen, I'm just able to roll with it better. But that's just me. Back to the cliches. I don't know where those cliches come from. Oh, I forgot my camera. Dang it. Can y'all see those birds? This video is just gonna be a mess. I'm a mess, and it's okay. You know what? Maybe we should be proud to be messes, because people are imperfect and we're complex and we don't always have things together. And I feel like these days, with social media and the internet, there's just this image that you have to portray. We're gonna get to that in a second. Do I want to do it in this video? It might be a two-parter. Yeah, you know what? If I'm recording, I need to record while it's in my system, because who knows what may happen. But let's talk middle age first. I've had to come to terms with some things. I was not prepared for loss. And I'm not just talking about death, which is the most devastating, really. But also just loss of friendships. And even if I'm not losing the friendship, just the loss of having people around. I grew up, my childhood, teens, and 20s. Even if you didn't live in the same house, you still lived in the same city or the same area. And you may not have seen each other every day, but you could hop on the train, hang out at a friend's house, or I could walk up the street and chill with somebody. That's hard to come by these days. And I love the country. I mean, at least I'm getting nature out of this, and I don't mind too much having housemates, surprisingly. I was a little worried about that. I don't want no roommates. I want to just be me and Carlton. But I like the house. I like the location. And we actually know these folks. It's not like we had to answer an ad in Craigslist and move in with strangers. That's one thing I don't miss about my 20s in college. Ugh. Here's your roommate. And it's like, great, we don't really get along. Our habits are not melding. Ugh. Yeah, I don't miss those days. I'm not near anybody. But even when I was in the suburbs, people work. People have full schedules. They have families, and that's part of middle age. You don't have time for a lot of stuff. But middle age also means that my friends with kids, these kids are now adults, and that was shocking. Like, how are you 26? How's your kid 26 years old? What happened? But it's cool because they raised their families, and now they're ready to just hang loose, and we are of a similar age, so that's good. But as far as loss, it can be hard to swallow. It can be hard to get used to, and you can feel lonely. I was feeling lonely for a bit, and yeah, it's part of it was my fault because you do have to reach out to people, but it's just so hard for me to do. I feel like I'm imposing on people, and especially since they have busy schedules now, I just didn't want to impose and be a nuisance. So I hold back, and online is cool. I made connections online. But to me, nothing beats real life. You don't have the nuances of a person's personality, their mannerisms, their facial expressions. And it's just, a lot of those are so minute, and they're very subtle. It's not always grand. Like, I feel like you have to be online. You just have to make a statement. Whereas when you're talking to somebody in real life, you don't have to make a statement. We can have a conversation. So where am I going with this? All this rambling? I should have started drinking wine. So basically, I'm treating middle age as a second adolescence, without the immaturity and without the BS. I wouldn't repeat those years, trust me. And also, I have to be honest. When you get older, your looks do start to fade. And I know we shouldn't care about what people think, and looks don't matter, but in this world, they do, especially if you're female. I'm getting wrinkles, I'm getting little bags under my eyes. I definitely got the middle-age spread going. I can fix that, of course, by working out and just pumping it, but I really don't want to. I'm just accepting my fat. I care less about my fat than I do my face, because that's what people see. I can cover my body, and I do, but my face, yeah. And the gap there, y'all, this gap is getting bigger. I was looking at younger pictures of myself, and I had a gap, but it was it was smaller. So I don't know. When I'm 90, I probably won't care. There'll probably be like field goal going on at that point. But yeah, just little changes in my face. My eyes are erect. We're not going to do that. I can look young if I don't smile. But if I smile, that's the trade-off, see. I look younger if I don't smile, but to me it's not worth it. So my looks and my lifestyle, that's something I had to think about. And while I was feeling kind of off and had this sense of ennui and just not feeling life, been out of the loop. I don't know what's going on. The young folks, they're always talking about some artist or singer or movie. I've never heard of them. Who? But that's okay too, because that's just life. That's just the human condition. I'm sure middle-aged people felt the same when I was young, and when they were young, I'm sure middle-aged people thought the same. If they lived that long, we have to remember people didn't live as long as they do now. And we could be grateful for that. Like, age 45, let's see, 1915? I'm probably be considered old. Definitely a spinster, because I don't have kids. So that would have been strange back then. I don't want to go back to those times. So that's my thing. I am middle-aged, and instead of having a midlife crisis, this is a midlife transition. There's no crisis going on. I don't live in a war-torn country. I'm not dealing with I've dealt with death, but I'm not currently dealing with death. I still have my health so far. I can still communicate with people. And I get to live out with nature, so things aren't too bad. It's just a transitional period, and I think that's normal. I just wish people would talk about it more. Because I feel like people my age, I feel like if we talk about it, that it comes off as whining and belly aching. And we are too old to bellyache and complain and whine. At least that's the message. No matter how crappy you're feeling, that's the message. You should have had it together and no one wants to hear your sob story. We are out of little tiny violins for you. Get over it. But I just wanted to make this video to let y'all know if you're feeling some sort of way and you're around my age, I think it's normal. And I think we should talk about it. And don't be afraid to talk about it. That's a huge chunk. 45 to 65? That's a huge chunk to just ignore. And I'm sure, and I know the elderly and the old, they're just dismissed completely unless people want money. Then they'll ask the old folks. But yeah, I'm middle-aged now. I'm dealing with it. I used to be young, and it's just a transitional period. It's a transition from young to old. Just like being a teenager is a transition from childhood to adulthood. It's a transitionary phase. I have a second chance to make things how I want, and I just want to be chill. That's my freedom right there. I'm okay with working. I have to work. I'm not rich. But I'm not a live to work type of person, and that's okay. I live in an area, Washington, D.C. area. I feel like people are their resumes. That's all they talk about. What do you do? Well, I draw sometimes. I make videos sometimes. No, what do you do for a living? And I'm thinking, yeah, I know what you meant, but whoosh. So you answer that and what schools you went to, and I just find it boring. I'm sure. Tell me what school you went to, but what are your hobbies? What do you like to do for fun? That's how I gauge a personality. You can't tell anything where they went to school and what they do for a living. It's like when you go to work and you're thinking, man, they got a big stick up their butt, and then you hang out with them after work, have a couple drinks. It's like, oh, this person's pretty cool. I can hang out with them. You just can't judge people during the workday because you have to act a certain way. So I'm not into the 9-to-5 type deal. I do it to make an income. I do stage work, so that's cool. But I probably have to look at something more steady, which kind of scares me. But we'll see. I'm just living my life. I'm just taking my time, and no rush. I can't rush anymore. I'm sick of rushing around. It doesn't make me happy, and I don't do well at stress. It makes me stressful, and then I just fall apart, and I'm freaking out, and I'm just angry over the smallest things, and it just doesn't do well for me. Some people can deal with stress very well. Some can deal with stress better than I can. I just can't deal with it. It just changes my whole day. And on paper, I may look like a loser, but, I'm starting to be okay with that. I'm working, I'm making money. I don't make a lot of money, but I'm doing the best I can. That's all I can do. That's all any of us can do, really. Life is not a competition. It really isn't. And I think everything, especially in the United States, everything's just made to be a competition. And I think that's sad. Why can't we just get along and just live our lives and be happy? Because there's some people who don't like to see other people happy, believe it or not. But that's it for that conversation. So I've rambled on long enough. Stay tuned for part 2, where I ramble about social media. Peace out.